Together we have one Earth to live on and care for. We must be responsible for this home of ours. We eventually all reap what we sow here, good or bad. Every person on Earth needs space, food, and drinking water. There is a limited amount of clean drinking water, livable space, and fertile soil on the Earth where we grow our food. This amount of space, usable water, and fertile soil available is finite. There is no more. This is what we call the carrying capacity of the Earth, what it will sustain and balance. The livability for humans and nature is determined through climate, the levels of oxygen on planet Earth. The climate temperature is controlled by the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. More CO2 means less livability for humans and other life. Humans on Earth are solely responsible for 50% of these CO2 emissions. With every new product that we make, house we build, and car we drive, CO2 levels constantly rise. Every year we intend to pollute less, put less CO2 into the atmosphere, and we make goals for less CO2 emissions. But every year, there are 110 million more humans on Earth who also want to have a house, eat food, drink water, and have a smartphone. Well, maybe. So every CO2 emissions goal that we plan for at climate conferences are in advance defeated. Our consumption, of course, is responsible for this, and people in wealthier countries have larger impact on the Earth than, say, others from poorer or more developing countries. But as soon as countries become more prosperous, it increases our burden on the planet and in turn what the planet can provide. So anything that has unlimited growth in a limited space with limited resource is destined to fail. There is room on Earth for a whole lot of people. But will there be livable space, enough water, resources, and energy for everyone's needs? How much space is needed for humans to live comfortably, to maintain long-term sustainability? For humans, there must be found a balance between the amount of people on Earth and the carrying capacity of the Earth. The calculated sustainable long-term capacity of the Earth is 529 million people. We are now currently around 8 billion human beings on Earth, simply too much for long-term sustainability, 15 times too much. The complex impacts and effects of overpopulation are far-reaching and interconnected. To name a few that can be traced to overpopulation: shortage of resource, war, discontent, disharmony, violence, religious and political terrorism, asylum seekers, mass migrations, overfishing the oceans, dying out of plant and animal species, air pollution, global warming, increased extreme weather events, droughts, food and water shortage, and a lot more. We have reached the root of our biggest problem on Earth. But there is a solution. It is a simple one, but it is not easy. For however invasive or freedom-inhibiting this may seem, the solution is a worldwide 7-year birth stop followed by strict birth controls globally for many generations. This must be agreed to and enforced by individual governments through their common goal. You might say, whoa, this sounds harsh to me, or maybe even inhuman. But when we deeply consider the results of human overpopulation on the planet, even just today, then we realize we have a choice between our cooperative planning and control of our numbers and creating a far better life on Earth for all, or endless growth and living in destruction and misery. Eventually, the growth will end, suffering and misery will go on, and escaping the planet is not an option. This dire situation requires wisdom, maturity, and a sustainable plan and action for the whole world. Why is it that the world governing and political organizations refuse to challenge this issue? This obvious threat stares us in the face, yet we do nothing. We cannot sentence future generations with our irresponsibility and justify their misery with the world destruction. Our overpopulation impact on this planet is real, and we see the results of it everywhere, and yet we turn away. Now, we need to compel our governments, institutions, and powerful leaders to take vast measures for ourselves, our children, and grandchildren. We must become willing to take action now. So please, click on this link to sign the petition for a plan for birth global control and a path that leads to bringing the planet back in check with the carrying capacity of the Earth. The quality of all life on this planet is at stake.